Mark Fippen resigned, and this is the county attorney's appointment.
Yep.
So he resigned, and Ray would like to acknowledge Lori Christie in his replacement. So I just need you guys to formally acknowledge that his appointee, and I'll change it on the director.
Okay, so you need the first one to acknowledge.
Yeah, you could probably do it in one motion, acknowledge.
Okay, got that, gentlemen?
I've got Lori Christie, but who?
Mark
Fippen.
Mark Fippen?
Yep.
Well, I would make a motion to acknowledge the resignation of Mark Fippen and the appointment of Lori Christie to the Civil Service Commission.
I will second that motion.
Call for a vote.
Tippit, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Bull's eye.
Andrea.
Good morning.
Morning.
Didn't know Ryan was get to travel to Benton County twice in a month.
Oh, yeah.
Scenic Benton County.
My favorite place.
Tell them the way.
My favorite honor.
That's right, you said that to every county.
So this morning we're here to request geo permitting for our environmental health and land use department. What geo permits does is being able to do online permitting for both everything related to environmental health. So that means the septic systems, wells, and then with land use as well, that's going to be land use applications, farm exemptions, subdivisions, and then subdivision exemptions. We're going to be doing floodplain as well through there, and yeah, so we can use it for every aspect of our department. What this does is anybody that wants to apply, they're going to be able to do that from the comfort of their house. They don't have to come down to our department. The process is going to be easy to track, so everything is going to be online. They can see where in the process the application is. That's going to minimize the amount of phone calls that we get. And then once everything's done and everything's permitted, that's going to be uploaded and it's going to be available into Beacon. A lot of the calls that we get are either from contractors or property owners wanting to know the location of their septic system, the age of their well, where it's located. And honestly, right now our records are all paper. So, and doesn't have the best filing system. So right now that takes a lot of our time. I would say maybe 40% of what we do is look through records, and it's very time consuming. And there's other areas that we need to actually be addressing that we don't have the time to address because of how time consuming it is to try to go through our records. An example of that would be annual contracts for alternative systems. We're supposed to be making sure that everybody that has an alternative system has an annual contract, and that's necessary to make sure that they continue to work and operate correctly. If they don't, that means that they could be discharging just raw sewage to, our county, and might be one of the reasons why last year 37% of wells were positive for coliform bacteria. So I'm not saying that that is a cause, but that could be a factor that is kind of increasing the percentages of wells that are positive in our county. The other thing that we have to do in our ordinance is that septic systems have to be put in by a certified and approved Benton County contractor. To be that, you have to be certified through the state of Iowa, and you also have to be insured and have Benton County listed as an additional insured entity. For us to do that, we need to be verifying every year that they're getting the certification, and every year that they're sending us records of those insurances, which again is a very manual process. Being able to do this is going to automate it. So we're going to have, and one of the things that you can do is we can have a list of contractors, and we upload their certification, we upload their insurance, and once that insurance expires, it's going to send an automatic message to all the contractors as well as ourselves. That way they know they need to upload it. They're not going to be considered approved contractors in the system, so they're not going to be able to be put in any systems in until they submit that documentation, and that completely takes away all of the work associated with what we have to do.
And the other thing too with that is the certificates for liability insurance, that's all dependent upon when they started their policy. So that's all throughout the year, varies contractor to contractor. And certification is the same as well. It comes down to the date of when they first got their certification, which varies all throughout the year as well. So it's not even like it's every, same time, every 2 years. It's all throughout the year that you have.
Another benefit is kind of the intra-department communication. The assessors started asking us to give them kind of a summary of the number of wells, the number of septics, and the approved land uses, because it makes it easier for them to be able to track and be able to assess properties accurately in a timely manner. So doing this, anytime that gets approved, we can send notifications, the system can send notifications to the assessors, letting them know, hey, a new septic system was approved, hey, a land use change was approved. The same with EMA, they can let them know a 911 address is required from this property. Right now, when we do a land use application, we have to send a copy to secondary road so they can review that driveway. So this system can send that automatically to secondary road saying like a new application was started, review this, and he can send that to us, or I'm not sure if they'll be able to upload it into the system, but that's something that definitely we can, it would minimize the amount of work that we have to do. So having this would make it more efficient for our department. It's gonna make it less time consuming, and we're gonna be able to focus on the things that actually matter. And
Do
so
they-
right now, sorry, go ahead.
So do they input all the information that you have on files now?
No, so that's not gonna be part of the process, and that's one of the reasons why we got that third person this summer, so they can upload that information. So hopefully after that, and with the addition of this, we'll be in a really good place to be able to not have to spend the majority of our time going through records. So the way that this is set up right now, this is a 3-year contract. It doesn't have to be a 3-year contract, it could be yearly. Right now, it's prorated from May until June 30th, and the setup cost for that is $18,612. That's a one-time fee, and then the hosting fee from May to June 30th is $11,000. Then after that, each year it would be, year 2 is $10,632, and then it goes up 5% every year.
What was year 2? 2,000. What'd you say year 2 was?
You mean the setup fee?
10,632.
Yearly. Well, and that's up to, like, it
Second year.
increases, yeah,
Yep.
second year. It increases 5%. And so right now, we did apply to a grant through the state. It's an IT grant for the full cost of this 3-year contract. We haven't heard back from the grant yet. We did bring this to the Board of Health as well. They approved this as long as you guys were okay with it as well. So they're okay with us moving forward with you, permitting with your approval. So.
And the other thing too is, there's kind of your typical permit part of that as well, but it also incorporates to, as far as like with technology that's used with Beacon. So it's like part of their land use applications, they can kind of go and it's kind of a draw up where they can pull up the aerial and actually draw on there as far as, they can do rectangles, draw lines, put points, showing the different points of interest, like, so for the land use applications, they can go in there, pull up the aerial right there as part of this application process for the land use change and draw on what their site plan is. And that's the same as septics as well. And as part of that too, we can also then, as part of that permitting process, have it where we can enter like our field notes when we go to do a site inspection for septics prior to construction. We can put our notes from there in, versus right now I put notes in my phone and then I get back to the office, then I put them into a different format that we can have there to save for records that is available to everyone. So with part of that too, it's going to save time as far as what we're doing in the office as well, by not having to duplicate that.
Since this is all web-based, if you go on site someplace, you can have a laptop and access it and see it instead of taking a whole packet of things as well. So that's a...
Correct, yep.
Okay.
Plus, it's a good backup, instead of just having the paper files. Now we're gonna have a backup all the time on Beacon.
How long do you think it's going to take the people to catch on?
Well, so if this is approved, I'm gonna start the building process, and I'm actually was gonna have some of the contractors give my guinea pigs as I built it, so then they have some input into this, and that way maybe they feel more open to being part of this. And so the other thing, about 33 counties in Iowa already use this geo-permit, so I looked at him because he's the guy that does all this stuff. So about 33 counties in Iowa already use.
I'm not saying a word.
So the contractors then, instead of having to wait for you guys to open up at 8 o'clock,
They can
do
just
all
start the
this
whole
stuff
process. That is
whenever.
correct.
Well,
And
if
they
they're
can-
both out on site, then they could access it too.
Right.
Actually, I do want to mention one thing. With your contractors, they can now, instead of having to call Andrea or Matt, to look at a status, they can log on themselves at 9 o'clock at night and they see the status of all of the different permits that they're managing in one spot.
And with that too, like we don't only get calls about septic systems that have been installed. When it's the whole process from installation to inspection, you need to have like, the initial site evaluation. Hey, where did we say that hole was? You'll be able to check that online. That's gonna minimize the amount of calls for everything related from setup until inspection. Because sometimes things take a while to be able to move through the process, and contractors maybe have 4, 5, 10 different sites that they're trying to get through, and they don't remember what specific area they were gonna build it on, and so they called us because we have those records. Having this, we can have that online already.
The other thing too with that is there's a lot of times where we have contractors that'll physically drive to the courthouse to pay for permits, because it's something changed in their schedule, they had an opening and you get going on it. So I know we have some contractors, like there's one down in Marengo, I know that will drive up and pay for a permit. Whereas with this, part of that payment integration, they would be paying any additional fees if they're doing e-check or credit card, just like you do with the treasurer's office now.
They can do that online?
They can do that online. So that would also save on that end as well there.
So that was my 2 questions. One, you got 30,000 in your budget right now to cover it,
We do actually.
okay? That one's done. Second thing is, the payments for the permits, are they gonna send a check in the mail or can they go credit card?
They can just do a credit card, right?
Yeah. Because it's,
You want me to answer that?
yeah.
You still have the option, so as you're kind of going through those different stages in the permit, once you get to that payment screen, her office can have the choice of, like pay in person, where they can check a box to where, but then, that permit stops, or they can pay by credit card or e-check. And so that software actually will collect the money, and then once it needs to go to the treasurer's office, wherever it needs to go to, there's also custom reporting as well. If it's for a specific permit, it itemizes all that for the treasurer.
Have you been taking payments by credit card now? I don't think so.
We don't have any sort of
No, we
process
have no
how to
way.
take that,
The
yeah.
treasurer's the only one that can do that.
Right.
But with this, they will set that up with this.
For
budget.
that 18,000.
It's, the fees are within.
That's all it's part of the software. It's just,
Okay.
all encompassing.
So the credit card user fee of 3 or 4%, where does that come out?
That
They
would-
pay that.
Like, a very easy example would be if the permit's $100, the fee would be, if it's an e-check, right, it's a quarter, whatever it is, or credit card's what, 2-3%, whatever it is.
I don't know what the going rate is.
Yeah, I mean, long story short, their office still gets the $100, and then, that 2 to 3% would go to that payment processing company.
Just like how you would, like, if the treasurer's office now, if you were to
Yeah,
pay
exact same.
online,
Online, same
you
way.
pay
Exact same
extra if you
scenario.
do that, or if you would come in the office and pay, it's the straight.
But then that's why we want to give the opportunity, like if you still want to drive from Marengo here, that's
Go
up
for
to
it.
you.
But
Pay
they can send
$3.
it in an envelope too.
Yes, they could do that, but if it's time sensitive, like they need to
Oh.
pay before they get started, they need to do that beforehand.
And usually the e-check fee, that's that much smaller one, that's usually, I mean, I know personally me, I'd rather do that than go get a stamp and remember to put it in the mail, so.
This is something I had talked to Andrea about, that I was behind it originally when we were doing the hiring process and that too, so, I mean, it is a good thing. And there's more options in the future if we want to add on other things to it.
And the data is our data, if we would ever leave, that is our data, correct, as London, you were explaining?
Yes.
Once that scanned doc images or something.
Yeah, it's very similar, I mean, we are the same company that does Beacon, Schneider is, that this software, so a couple things, it automates that process, like the owner information, so it's literally pulling it from Beacon and putting it into this automated process for permits. But also too, we back up all of that data for you, so if Matt doesn't like me or something and wants to go to another vendor, it's your data, we would just package it up for you and it's not, it's the same company as Beacon, but, if you choose to go another direction with one, but still want to keep Beacon, we're obviously going to work with you on that.
Would this, if we needed support, would that already be included with our other support, or is that separate?
Good question. So it comes with, it's the software itself and what you're paying us, that support comes with it.
Okay.
In the contract, there's, very specifically, it talks about like flex hours. That's where we're getting into the, the work, of building some of these out. The advantage, though, that you guys have is we already have a lot of these templates built out in the state of Iowa, septic, for example. So it'll be more just kind of tweaking it to Benton County, whatever they need. But the little one-off things, that's not including the flex hours, it's just, like a support request. Does that answer?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because I know sometimes we're like, when Mike is here on site, we're like,
Yeah. Actually, and that's a good thing too, and but this is bigger picture. If you guys run out of hours for some reason, but you have hours through the other agreement, and
Right.
it's all the same.
okay, that's what I wondered, if we could
Yeah.
mash it all together.
So if there's ever a land change, that's all just automatic when it changes in the Beacon, it rolls over to this
Yeah.
software?
We
Well,
change ownership name
Yes,
and
yeah.
our Tyler's,
Yes.
yes, it
Okay.
goes usually within 24 hours, it's updated on Beacon.
And so that's the other thing too, I guess, like when you're applying for those permits, that is also incorporated with Beacon, where you can trigger that permit, and it'll pull all the information, owner information, mailing information from that parcel. So it's all tied to that same parcel system. So the applications, it automatically pulls that, where you're not having to worry about, like if a contractor's doing it, messing up the owners or addresses, that's all pulled directly from our.
And that's a good thing to bring up too. As a contractor, it'll ask you, are you the homeowner? Like, what is your role? And you can say, I'm the contractor applying on behalf of the homeowner, like as an example.
Derek, have you looked at this agreement at all?
Nope.
Is that something we should consider?
Sorry, there's a little correction.
That's all good.
It pretty much mimics what we do with Schneider already, but it's just for the permitting. I kind of looked it over when Andrea showed it to me.
Yeah, it's the same contract number.
Yeah. Which we've had Schneider for, before I was auditor, we've had it for a long time.
Since I've been in junior high.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Your thoughts?
I think it's a fine thing. Personally, I think it's a step in
Bring
the
us
right
into
direction.
the 21st century.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of-
And like she said, it might be grant funded, so.
I guess I'm the one always worry about locking in a contract, but I always feel like the first year, everybody's gotta get used to it. And to me, it won't see any advantage of it until like the second and third year, when everybody starts getting used to it. The contractors for the septic tanks and stuff like that.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, even if the contractors don't like it, we are gonna see the benefits immediately, because we're not gonna have to have to do everything manually.
Okay.
So even if they take a while they have growing pains, and I get it, and we're probably gonna have growing pains as well. Just having the contractors added to that is gonna be a huge benefit. Having those alternative systems added to that is gonna be already a huge benefit and a huge time saving for our department.
Old school, the older contractors, they'll still be able to come in and actually do what they've been doing though, right? You're not gonna change that.
Well, they can
In your
always do
office.
it in the office.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They can still, old school.
Yes, because then I would say probably at least 90% of the permits that we issue for septic are applied for by the contractors. And so and that's the other thing, is this does also allow for that homeowner integration, even if you're dealing with the contractors, where notifications that through email can go to those homeowners as well as the contractors. So they're all brought into that. And I'd say most of a lot of the systems we have that the contractors are doing, if they're submitting applications, they're usually going into PDF and trying to add word boxes and fill it in that way as well.
Okay.
So I'd say for probably 75% of the permits that we do a year, the contractor's already trying to digitally fill in a PDF, which
Okay.
it's,
More time to
And I'll just say too, if they work in other counties, this is already in other counties, so they're somewhat familiar with the software.
Okay, got it.
So if some-
What are some of,
No, no.
what some of them other counties are on there close? Anybody?
Off the top of my head, Buchanan,
Okay, north,
Johnson County, the Highway and Engineer Department has it.
okay.
I know Grundy does.
Grundy has it, they're big users of it. I'm trying to put the map in my head. I should have had
Is Jones?
that. Jones, no.
Where's she? Okay, I thought she was talking about it.
Delaware County is already gone through budget and everything with this exact same agreement.
Okay,
Got a different department, but, you know, yeah, every county's a little bit different, I'm learning.
okay.
So going back to what Matt was saying about the property owner being able to have some input and being able to follow the process, it allows for that accountability and kind of open communication in between the county contractor and property owner. We recently had a property owner come in and complain about the county holding up her septic system. It wasn't the county, it was the contractor. That would have been something that that property owner wouldn't have to come to her office to check on. They would have been able to see, we're currently waiting on this contractor to be able to do this X, Y, and Z before we can follow up with the process.
Okay.
So,
Well, if somebody comes into your office and wants to do it old school, will you just go right to this and load it in real time instead of doing the paperwork and then putting it in? You'll just boom and it's done.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't have any questions.
Do I have a motion then from anybody?
But the only thing I would say is, do we want to approve this pending Derek looking at the contract?
I mean, if it's something that we've done in the past, I don't think it's a big issue.
Okay.
Because the only thing that would be boilerplate terms, and if those haven't changed, then I don't see a problem. But I'll do whatever you guys want me to do too, so.
Well, the pricing's good till the 30th of March, and our next meeting is in April, right? Nope, the March 31st, so
And
that's
we need
the
to know
day
for
after.
fiscal year 27 budget too.
Yeah, oh, this is the fiscal.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be, well, she's got some already in her spending authority this year, but then next year we'll have that other fee too.
Okay. Oh, I got it.
Which that's something that we actually wanted to bring up. So right now, we designate about 10,000 every year to save towards a future truck. And we have to check with Haley, but I believe we have enough money saved already to be able to, when we need it, to purchase a new truck. So we were thinking of then switching that to then becoming the, paying for the annual fee of posting this. So it would just be maybe a couple hundred increase in our budget if we do that. A couple $100.
Yeah, you have like over 64,000.
Yeah.
We're taking on the
Yeah.
moving of things there. I would make a motion to approve this update for environmental health, land use,
Geopermit.
everybody.
Yeah, it would be good for everybody, really.
Okay.
I'd make that motion.
Snyder contract.
Snyder contract.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right, call for a vote.
Tippit, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Bullseye.
There you go.
Thank you.
You guys sign it or I sign it?
We'll sign it, right?
Good.
I don't care.
He just wants to say
Hey, you know my house stands, right? I don't care.
Okay, on to the next one. That took a while.
Someone that has the authority to sign.
Thank you. Who's this guy?
I got one. I got
Tom.
one.
Yeah.
I printed it.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so Jeff Geiger is seeking approval for a new non-ag use specifically for a federal firearms license, including sales. The property is located approximately 3 miles north of Benton and at 5464 24th Avenue Drive, Benton, Iowa, within the northwest quarter of the southeast quarter of Section 28, Township 86 North, Range 10 West, within Harrison Township. The proposal concerns a 31.6 acre parcel which the applicant and his spouse, LaDonna Geiger, own. The entire area of this request has a CSR below 70, so it is not considered high-quality farmland. In addition, the proposed request will not disrupt the natural character of the land, as it will take place inside existing structures. There is pasture land to the north, a single-family dwelling and agro crops to the east. To the southeast, there is a subdivision consisting of single-family dwellings, a single-family dwelling, a farmstead, and agro crops to the south, and a single-family dwelling and agro crops to the west. Access to the property will continue via the existing driveway, which was reviewed and approved by Dan McKenna from Secondary Roads. The property is accessed from 24th Avenue Drive, a gravel county road with an average annual daily traffic count of 150 vehicles. The request will not require changes to the current septic system for the dwelling, and the existing private well will be utilized. 14 notification letters were sent to adjacent property owners, and legal notices were published in Benton County's official newspapers as required by ordinance. The Benton County Land Use Office did not receive any public comments concerning this request. This request is located on a parcel with low-quality farmland, which is already used for an auctioneering business and an auto resale business, in addition to ag activities. The requested use will occur within existing structures, therefore this request is not likely to interfere seriously with farm operations in the area. The surrounding area is primarily agricultural with scattered farmsteads and single-family dwellings, including a residential subdivision. This request should not materially alter the stability of the overall land use pattern in the area. According to the Benton County Land Preservation and Use Plan, it is policy to provide limited and low-density, low-impact development within the general use area upon a fair and equitable evaluation. For the reasons reported, this request has been found to be consistent with this policy and all other applicable policies in the plan. Is there anything you want to add?
I would just kind of come in to, if there's any questions, because it's not going to be like a storefront or have guns available. It's for, like if you want to buy a gun online, you have to have it shipped to an FFL. You can have it shipped to me. I do the 4473 on it and good to go. There's no, like I say, I'm not going to be putting up a building or a gun shop or anything like that, so.
I would move to approve this land use change. Falls within our ordinance. I know exactly what he's doing.
Basically, just wording, it really isn't changing anything, so I would second that motion.
Okay, call for a vote.
Tippit, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Bull's eye.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, have a good day.
You too.
All right. So, spoke with the union rep to make sure that we get all of our ducks in a row as far as like contract looking good. I know there was like, I know a new article we added to the contract. You just asked if I added like year 3 included there, no problem with that. And so, it's ready to go. We came to an agreement. It was like essentially 2.6% increase for each of the next 3 years. I felt like that was the best interest for the county, given the alternative would have been going through the whole arbitrator process, and I don't think that would have ended up well for us in my legal analysis. So I think the deal that's presented to you today is the best deal that we can get for the county. And it'll save us some money versus going through arbitration and all that alternative dispute type stuff. Or process, excuse me, not stuff.
Who does the typing of these nowadays?
Oh, I did it.
You did it?
Yep.
Okay.
And I updated the salary schedule, which is part of the exhibit, I think exhibit B. And the articles didn't really change except for maybe two reference to because the one was the safety glasses. I think that was the only one I changed actually, other than adding the one to the soon-to-be safety glass policy that's currently in the works. And then I added Article 27, which was the call me too clause, where it'll attach like salary increases to other negotiations or union negotiations. So those are the terms. And yeah, I was the one who typed it out, and I included that new article. And once everything's good to go, sign and approve. Of course, like I think I put chairperson's normally the one who signs it, so there you go, Tracy, and then I'll sign it, and then Myron signs it, and then of course 2 union reps for secondary roads, and then of course the actual union rep for the folks that was their negotiator.
So the Me Too clause, that would basically protect us, like when, in years past where we went in and increased it and we had to do the MOU, we wouldn't have to do that.
We would, for this, I did lay it out that it would just be done by MOU once it's done, so then it's clean,
All right.
contractually wise.
This is
so-
just saying you have to do it if they go above.
Yep,
Gotcha.
yep. Which I think is, I mean, I think we got the best deal that we could.
Okay.
I would make the motion to approve the union contract with secondary roads.
I'll second.
Call for a vote.
Tippit, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Bulls on.
Done deal.
Thanks for all your hard work, buddy.
Thank you.
It took a while. You're probably glad that's over, huh?
Yeah.
Years ago, it used to be the union that typed the contracts, and then something happened, and now we have to type them.
Well, I think it was just something we talked about where we agreed to do that.
And it saved us money. We didn't have to pay outside.
Yep.
Sure.
And I got the Word document from the previous one, so it wasn't really much changes.
Right.
They saw that.
Timed item,
What? Yes.
timed item for you.
Yes.
So, it won't take long.
That's all right.
Even if they say no, it won't
I didn't
take
think
long.
the geo permitting was gonna go that long.
So, because I wasn't sure I was gonna make it here, but I do want to know what time I walked in the door today. It was 21 after.
So you were on time, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I almost moved you earlier without talking to you, but then I didn't.
So what I did was I put it together in a letter just in case I wasn't gonna be able to make it. I am here to talk to you about Benton County Historic Preservation Commission's, spring outreach project. We would like to, since America is turning 250 this year, we decided one of our outreach projects should involve the kids. So we have decided to do a drawing contest for kids kindergarten through 12. But we would like you guys involved. Would you like me to read all of it, or are we good?
You know what, I'd read it, that way if anybody's out there on Zoom,
Okay. Okay.
just read the first page.
Okay. Attached is the paperwork for one of our community outreach projects for 2026. We plan to roll this project out to schools by Friday, May 27th, or March 27th. Artwork would be submitted to us by April 30th. We would like your help in judging the artwork in May after one or several Tuesday meetings, because we don't know whether we're gonna get 5 of them or 500. We would pick a winner from each grade at each school building. We would like to award winners a certificate of achievement, display their artwork at the courthouse from June 17th to July 15th. We would also like to offer student winners and their families a guided tour of our historic courthouse on a specific day at a specific time. So what we would like from the supervisors is endorsement of this project, permission to roll it out, participation with judging, permission to display at the courthouse, and permission and participation in the awards ceremony and possible tour. And possibly the tour, meaning, and we're still working on specifics of what we would possibly do for a tour of the courthouse, because like, in my opinion, a kindergartner would be just completely enthralled watching a bag go through the box. An 11th grader would be like, yeah, seen that at the airport. But that's specifically my opinion. So, and I'm thinking, depending, because we don't know how many we will have, breaking them up into groups, and having their tour be specific to their age.
How are you gonna get that last paper on here? What does America mean out to the individuals? How would they be able to get their hands on it?
I'm going to upload this, and for example, I'll send it to Anna Selk for Benton Community. She's curriculum coordinator.
Okay.
And then she would send it out.
To the schools?
Yes.
Okay.
I am gonna go talk to her. I've got an email sitting there for her. If she would like it distributed differently, and I'm gonna use them as my example as to where else to send it.
May I make
But,
a suggestion?
yes,
I would suggest maybe attaching it to the principals of each building
okay,
and/or the art teachers, because really that's where it's gonna come from. It's gonna get pushed. And so like if you start at curriculum, it's gonna push through one hand to go to another hand to another hand. And if you can get it closer, you're gonna have a better chance of having more participation.
okay.
Just my thoughts.
But I will say each school system is different as to how they
Absolutely.
want what.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I am gonna do a short shout out to Nathan Platt at Norway Intermediate. He helped me put that together. And then like if you let us display at the courthouse, what will end up happening so we can attain anonymity is we'll chop that part off and code it. So everybody gets to go see the artwork, but no one will be identified as to whose it is. As much as we would like that, there are people that would use that to their advantage to do things that they shouldn't be doing.
Good. Gentlemen?
I think it's a good idea, get everybody involved and get it out there.
I'm all right with it.
Okay, so can I get a motion to give them permission to go ahead with this project?
I would make a motion to let the Benton County Preservation Board proceed with the project.
I'll second that.
Go for a vote.
Tippit, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Bullseye.
There you go.
Cool. I will obviously see you again.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I hope a lot of people,
I'll
Get
give
involved.
the 500.
yeah.
Mr. Platt is waiting to pass it out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Myron?
Morning, Myron. Morning.
Thank you. Thank you. What up?
Thank you, sir.
It seems like we went over this not long ago. It's already been a year.
Yeah, well, it wasn't quite a year. I'm not so sure it was in April before I brought you
Oh, okay.
my proposed costing last year, and we gave rural residents in Benton County about a 3-week time frame to sign up.
which I would argue is plenty of time because 90% of them wait till the last week because they've got to pay for it before they get it. So most people are not going to part with their money until they have to. And I understand that. But there are enough people that ask questions as to what it's going to cost. So let's figure that out. So the last day and a half, I have been working hard at trying to put that together. What I came up with that I'm recommending for costing, charging for the MC70 dust control program in 2026 is $1,625 for the first 400 feet. As much as petroleum is fluctuating at the moment, the product, the bitumen petroleum product that we use for our dust control has actually stayed steady. And he has assured me that the quoted price he gave me, he would honor throughout our application process timeframe. So that's not going to be a fluctuating deal. The cost of the chips from the quarry actually went up $1 a ton from last year. The biggest difference last year to this year is the operator expense. The pay raise that went into effect a year ago, as well as the increased vacation schedule that affects all of secondary roads employees, actually amounted to $2 or more per hour for each of the operators involved in the operation. Because the petroleum cost stayed the same and the chips changed very little, I felt the $2.60 per foot for additional footage over 400 feet was still appropriate. When that was first thought of and offered, there were a lot of times where you had two neighbors that were next to each other that would come together, that wouldn't maybe talk, they may have talked to each other about each doing it type of deal, but each would come in individually. The biggest expense is getting the equipment to the location and the personnel. But if you had one 400 foot here and the next one touches the other one, it really didn't cost me $1,625 to do both. I said, if you two would go together, let's figure out what an additional footage would cost. Well, I've got a few people out there that have taken that to a half mile, 3/4 of a mile. There does recur some additional cost when you start doing probably somewhere between 800 and 1,000 feet. I'm proposing this year that for anything over 1,000 feet, there'd be another $100 per 1,000 feet cost that would be applied to that 260. So 1,050 to 2,000 feet would be an extra $100. 2,050 feet to 3,000 feet would be an extra $200 and so forth, to offset some of the extra costs that it takes for prepping and having that equipment there longer. Because you do an 800, 900, 1,000 foot one, it doesn't take but about 15 minutes longer maybe to do that extra application process each time with the personnel that are there. But when you start getting much longer, there's more than just that $2.60 per foot cost. And I'm looking at letting people start signing up next week through the 1st of May.
How's your equipment? Last year, I thought you said.
Last year, I will tell you every year whether this MC70 program that Benton County has offered as a county expense or using county personnel, figuring out what it costs us so we're not losing anything, but I'm not profiting at all doing this. Is this something we want to continue to offer? We have a distributor truck that has a 20-plus-year-old cabin chassis on it that at the least needs to be looked at being replaced in the near future. Parts are not easily available for that. A lot of times you're looking at third-party or auctions, junkyards, because you can't just go to the dealer and get the parts And as long as nothing breaks as long as when anything breaks, we can find parts for it, we've succeeded so far, but we're pushing our luck each year. The distributor tank and all of the things on that, nothing has really changed on that over the last 20 years. They've made some improvements on making added features on newer stuff, but our fixed bar still works for our application from that standpoint, and it could be put on a new or used truck cab and chassis in the future. Otherwise, we're using the spinner setups on the back of tandem trucks that we use for snow, sand, salt applications, so that's something that continually, gets used in other times of the season and isn't a specialized piece of equipment that we're using with our dust control. So, the headaches that many times go with certain days with this program gets frustrating. But we have the equipment and the personnel that can do that. It does take a few weeks out of the season from doing other things. Granted, the motor grader operators still have other areas within their district that private dust control people have been hired to apply dust control, so you've got some prep application there. Ours takes a little bit more prep application, so there's some cost in here for that extra. You say that we don't charge a fee, for the other dust controls, but generally speaking, our product does take a little bit more prep work to get it ready. So yeah, I could come up here and tell you I don't want to do it anymore. Which, maybe that's the new guy's challenge. Some years down the road, I have no proposed date to offer at this point that aspect of it. I've been involved with it for 30 plus years. I know how it works. But yeah, many of the people that were involved with it then aren't involved with it anymore, and we've trained those that we do have now to do that. And yeah, we could continue to do that. I'm gonna turn that, question back to you. If you wanna do it, here's where I'm telling you is costing secondary roads to do that, and I would not recommend numbers any different than what I proposed.
Go ahead. Is this truck, is this a type of truck that you could take something that you currently have in your fleet and take out of service a little early and convert it to this?
No. It's actually a single axle truck, and we have very few single axles right now. We just bought 2 new ones with recently bought some 2 new single axle dump trucks that we use pretty regularly in our operation. So it would be a matter of going out and finding either a very good used cab and chassis or cost-wise, it might be easier to just buy something new in the near future.
It's
to put
not
under it.
specialized.
It's not specialized, no.
That same truck and chassis, that's the one you put the oil and chips down, like redoing some of the
Seal
asphalt
coat.
roads, right?
Seal coat roads, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But which we have, 15 miles of seal coat roughly
Right.
around the county.
Right, you did quite a few of them last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're good for a little bit.
Well, there's a few that I didn't do last year that probably will need it this season, and
Okay.
I was trying to split that up instead of a heavy expense, all in one budget year.
And I know this is off sidetrack, but have you ever heard anything from Urbana?
That was my next question.
On that.
On that street on the west end of Urbana, what's oiled and chip? Did they ever contact you?
City council went ahead with a HMA overlay project.
Okay,
They are I think, soliciting bids to do that work and have a public hearing coming up early April. I can't remember. The city administrator sent me the exact date, but where they will open those and take action accordingly. But they are moving forward with converting that seal coat on 30th Avenue west of town to asphalt HMA overlay.
Okay. Well, then we won't have to worry about doing that one no more.
Right.
Okay.
Ray, do you think these permitting someday could you utilize what Andrea's doing?
I'd have to learn more about it, but yes, that crossed my mind when the rep mentioned Johnson County
Yeah.
roads.
Yeah, because that'd be something nice that maybe they wouldn't have to come into the office and.
Mhm.
I have about 3 people already been last 2 weeks jumping me about it, so I can take this home, make copies of it.
Is this available online?
It will be.
It will be. So they can just get on their website and say there's road costs and bada bing. Perfect.
That's why I was proposing next week to start it, just to give us the rest of the week to get everything kind of put together and learn how to do all of that again, because I have a new office manager who has never gone through the dust control season, so I didn't want to just start it immediately today. But certainly the numbers are,
Sounds fair.
but I know the biggest question, kind of like I think Tracy was alluding to, is that what the proposed cost is. I'm sure it's going to be, April 25th through May 1st, where 80 to 90% of the payment is going to happen on this. For the most part, you've got a few individual rural farmers that will stop in or mail a check maybe in the next 3 weeks that just do it in front of their house at a 400-foot stretch. But there are some rural subdivisions or clusters of houses that have gotten together and done, like I said, 1,000+ feet in multiple areas.
Well,
I mean, as of right now, the oiler is all cleaned up and serviced and ready to go, and obviously the dump trucks that have sanders on them are all in working condition, because they just went through the snow season. So, at the moment, we, secondary roads, have the equipment to continue this program.
Knock on wood. All the snow equipment made the year with no great breakdowns, repairs?
Yes.
Good.
you usually do about 160 of them, don't you? If I remember right?
I think so. I know it used to, we've allowed them to keep it a second season if it holds up, and if we ask them to fill out a permit. I know there's a number of them out there that has worked well with, and it seemed like that every other year there was a spike or there was more, but last year there were still quite a few, and last year should have been the light year.
Okay.
That I feel there were a few new or past rural residents that switched from a private applicator to the MC70. I know that at least one of the products that is offered by the private applicators had a pretty huge spike last year, and that difference in price wasn't as significant. This petroleum product is more expensive than lignin or calcium products that the private industry offers. But I think it was the lignin was harder to get last year, and it had spiked pretty heavily. That difference wasn't as much as it used to be. And so I think it was the lignin individuals that some of them had requested and filled out the county's permit for the MC70.
only two things I got to say. One is, on the second application, I get a little wider window than what we did last year, or what you did last year. Seemed like you followed up pretty
Last
quick.
2 years, we followed up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Some of that has been weather related. Few of my staff members feel that the product might be better with that shorter window. I know years ago when we used to be involved with the landfill operation, a lot of times we'd go to landfill and work for a month, 6 weeks, and then come back and do that.
That's just my suggestion, that
Yeah,
2 or 3 weeks, 2 weeks, you know, that's one thing. Second thing, this is just me talking, not for these guys, but me. I would have Doug probably looking into a new chassis, see what's out there on the used market, and then compare a new one. Just to see, it don't cost nothing to look.
no, it doesn't, and actually with the need for replacing single axle and dump trucks being a high priority, the two that are getting their boxes installed in the snow equipment in Manchester right now, we now have a fleet that's not a concern for the next few years. So some of the specialized equipment that Secondary Roads has is gonna be more of the equipment replacement or upgrade in the next few years. So, yeah, I mean, we're gonna do that probably anyway, just to do some comparison. I know
Yeah,
from a
just
used
see what's out
standpoint, a
there.
lot of times it's an immediate decision needs to be made, because trying to find good used equipment sometimes moves pretty quickly right now when
Yeah.
it becomes available.
Okay,
Imagine so.
okay. So, can I get a motion to approve this year's MC application for the dust control?
I would make that motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right, call for a vote.
Tippit, aye.
Seaman, aye?
Bull's eye.
Perfect.
Get it out there and get it going.
I'll enter the amounts in the motion.
What?
I'll enter the amounts in the motion.
Yeah,
Okay.
I sent you an email.
Yep, I got a couple questions, and I'm guessing your meeting might not last much longer, so I'm gonna stay put.
Are you gonna wait after that work? Okay.
Yeah.
We can discuss it otherwise during the meeting.
Not on the agenda, probably.
If
Or-
it's-
We're not voting on anything, we're just gonna discuss it, so we can
Okay.
discuss it,
If it's a task business matter too, fall in that category.
right? We can't vote on it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I look at it, this is your thing, I'm just the middleman,
Mm-hmm.
okay? I was asked by Myron to have polyfix that we had at the sheriff's office on the floor, the courthouse, the cement around the courthouse. Come and take a look at sidewalks at Luzerne down there over the viaduct, over the railroad tracks. The sidewalk itself has deteriorated really bad. So I met with a gentleman yesterday, he gave me an estimate. He's got pictures of it. Now, the one thing on the south side of the pictures, that his pictures, I did not realize my stupid shadow.
Yep.
I have better pictures on my little phone.
Hey, you're blocking the part of it.
Yes, but anyway, there's a
This
big,
picture that the city council of
there you
member
go, that looks
has-
better.
shows it better because your shadow covers it
Yes.
up. But
I took better pictures on my flip phone.
coincidentally, I got,
I was gonna print them off last night, and then I attended a meeting last night, and I did not get home till 9:45, and needless to say, I wasn't up to the challenge of doing it.
the mayor, the new mayor of Luzerne and the city council have been inquiring
Okay.
recently also. Actually, a couple weeks ago, I think they asked the question, or a month ago, and coincidentally, yesterday afternoon, I got an email from one of those individuals just asking for an update, and,
Probably
yeah.
seen us there.
And I realized that after looking at the pictures that were taken yesterday afternoon and the ones they had taken, yeah, your shadow covers up what is a large void. Reading the Polyfix estimate, wasn't sure, when you met with them yesterday, like on the south side?
Yeah, on the south side, they were talking about, it's up, it is not in the bid, but they can get that little wedge out of there that's settled, and they would hand mix some cement and put in there.
That was a question I wanted to ask about.
That would be extra,
But
okay?
something they could do, and that.
Yes,
The other thought and question would be is that I think there were expansion strips of some sort put next to that abutment concrete.
Yes.
And whether or not the existing would suffice or whether that would need new stuff there. Their estimate indicates that they can also do that, but they just need all of that information on the estimate because it's, a technician team that would be out doing the work, not the salesman
Right.
present. And so they need all of that info included in the estimate and proposed work.
the way I kinda talked to him about, there's two sections in them pictures there on the south side where that crack runs north and south. I said, one of two things, either one, take both them sections out and pin it and re-pour some of it, or take them two sections totally out and re-pour it all. But you still need to bring up the section that's right next to, that comes off the bridge itself. That has tipped down.
Yep. Not broken.
So, there again, that's a engineer, I know what I would do, but
I need to go back to the plans, and I haven't looked at that real closely, because one of the pictures the city council showed some of the rebar in one of the cracks.
yes, that's
there.
that south side.
And
That they
I
had
know
that,
that at least the roadway coming immediately off of the bridge is all a fully reinforced segment of concrete. I don't
Mhm.
remember how far it went east into the sidewalk. And from a removal or pumping and rising of that concrete, if that impacts things or not. Removal more so, it's just that you've got rebar to deal with and may need to cut through that versus just pounding away and removing it.
now there is a section there, right where that, piece is busted out. That has been re-poured since original was done. You can see that plain as day.
Yeah, I had some work done down there because that south end had settled
And that's,
previously even with the pavement.
that's where you see the rebar in that section there. So I don't know, it's up to you. I mean, at least the south side, you got the hole, that's the bad thing. But yet, if you're in a wheelchair or on a bicycle, the grade is good. You know what I mean? There's no trip hazard except for the hole. You follow me? It's all
Yeah.
pinned together, even though it's all sunk down, but it's no trip hazard except for the hole. Now, on the north side, you got a 4-inch lip there.
The estimate is just for each of the first concrete panels off of
Correct.
the sidewalk? Is that
Yes.
what that?
Yes.
Because that one's a
$800 and some, if I remember right.
Yeah, the quantity that was listed on that were two different numbers, and I think the slab is maybe
Yeah.
a little bit bigger on the north side than the
Yeah,
south side, I'm
there's-
not sure.
There is that's where he was nervous about. There is a major void there.
Yeah, I would say this is a picture the city council had sent me
Okay.
of that one.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that, looks very similar to one you took yesterday, but
Okay.
it just,
So I'm just throwing it out there that, I mean, you kind of we can talk later on.
yeah,
Think about what whether you want them just to patch that hole. I'm not quite for that.
What are your thoughts as far as what's gonna last longer? Tear it out and reconcrete it, or?
Last longer, yeah, that'd be the way to go. And repin it again.
We don't have an estimate as to what that would cost.
No, because they don't, only thing they do is actually, they lift and then a little bit of sack concrete.
Okay,
I would not want to do it with a sack.
okay.
I would have a truck come in there, even though it's probably over a quarter yard, but probably half a yard. Cost you more in trucking to get it over there than anything. And then the other problem was, they were concerned about is that, it's a 2-lane road, that viaduct going over top, about having some kind of a safety flasher or something, because the truck is gonna actually have to sit on the viaduct for them to bring the hoses out to do the work.
Well, even if you,
And I said, I wasn't worried about that. We could get a small barricade with a flashing amber light on it. I'm not worried about that.
They seem to work fairly quickly, too.
Yes. But I got the information from you, well, what I learned yesterday, and you can mull it over and,
is this a huge insurance liability for us, the way it is?
Yep,
It's a big turn.
yep.
So the quickest fix would be the lift, because that doesn't take, whereas if you tear it out, you're looking at a week, 10 days,
All right.
I would imagine. That it has to be, one lane would have to be closed.
And the other problem is, as for tearing it out, it's gonna be piecework. Because it's small enough with the chain link fence, and then the cement embankment of the viaduct is only 4 foot. I didn't have my tape measure with me.
yeah.
There ain't enough room to get in there with a skid loader with forks.
So we're talking breaking it all up into small pieces and.
Correct, you're gonna have to use a chop saw to cut the rebar, drop it, and then sledgehammers and, but if it's hollow underneath, which it is where that piece is broke, it should break fairly easy. But it's just, Myron can decide what he wants to do, if he wants to just patch it.
What do they do, because last year I had some work done by Polyfix. And when they came in, they thought they could do it for this much, and then all of a sudden it didn't, the void was bigger than what they thought, or the dirt was pushing down instead of lifting up. And it doubled the price for me to try to get it up further. So I mean, do they have anything in there for that?
This is why I thought it was a little high on the
Okay.
pumping that, on the north side, because there is a void.
Yeah. Well, once they're there, the cost is then in the.
Yeah, it's a product.
The product, yeah.
They did the work for the sheriff's office last year, did their quote,
They stuck to it.
their
Everything
final
they,
invoice.
everything they did for the sheriff's office, they stuck to their quote, same thing. And same thing for the courthouse, everything they did around the sidewalks, because they had, I don't remember, $2,000, I think. We talked about that steps on the north side. They could not move it, they tried, and they did not charge us a penny for that.
Well, I imagine in their quote, they've got it factored in that sometimes they make money because it doesn't take as much, and sometimes it takes a little more. So I would imagine they have a cushion in there for that. Cool.
So, like I said, I don't know which way to go on this, whether, the north side's a no-brainer. Bring that up to grade, you're done. There's, you know what I mean, they're just 2 half-inch holes that they gotta bore and pump away. South side though, technically, they should bring that up to grade, that first section that comes off the viaduct, and then worry about patching that. And maybe that would be the way to go, is let them bring that south side up, which is in their bid, and then leave it up to us to fix it from then on, whether we want to cut it and fix that piece, or get it all the way out and put brand new in. But at least they'd have that first step that's coming down at an angle off the viaduct. So, I mean, you know, you can even have, send Dan down there, or when he's driving by or something, take a look at it too. The south side's the only thing I don't.
That's what I wanted to find out, what they were doing on
Yeah.
the south side. with
Yeah, that's
the
why I didn't
2
wanna-
panels south of the first one, having a crack north and south through that. I need to do something there, and I wasn't sure if this outfit was looking at that also or not.
Yeah, they looked at it, like I said, they didn't want to put a quote on it, because they don't know until they get into it, and I wasn't crazy about that Sac Creek. So, you can think on it,
Okay.
Okay. Oh, the only question I got for you, Myron, it's a kind of like everybody else is having the same problem. The gas and the diesel fuel going nuts right now. This is gonna affect your budget, ain't it?
Well, potentially. I can say I know that an unleaded tanker of fuel was cheaper today than it was yesterday, and we did not buy it yesterday. We bought it this morning. It was actually maybe cheaper yesterday afternoon, but we saved 27 cents a gallon from yesterday morning to this morning to delay a day of buying a tanker of unleaded fuel. Certainly the diesel fuel has gone up too, but it's been, actually, we were fortunate to buy a tanker of that, I think, before it had jumped significantly. We're probably due for another one here soon, but fortunately to date, it is not looking like it's going to heavily impact my budget, but yes.
Has potential.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's all I got, Myron.
Okay.
Unless you want to come back tonight at 6. Did you get the invite for April 9th too?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that? Or we could share info ahead of time, because sometimes I can email them ahead
I
of
have
time.
a conflict that afternoon, whether or not I'm gonna return to Benton
Well,
that
if there's
day then or
anything
not.
you want ahead of time, prepare, I can send them some stuff ahead of time too, and then they share it throughout.
I had scheduled something 6 months ago for that
I
day.
understand, yeah. That's fine.
Or at least that afternoon, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe just type up something and we'll give it to you.
Okay. Reports.
Mine all stack up at the end of the month.
I had a Zoom meeting yesterday with the East Central Iowa Workers Development. It was a CEO meeting with the department heads at And there's some, because we're losing the director, they're considering merging with the Northeast District. There's a lot of pushback. Some people like it and some people do not. And I've got to find out some more information about that. And I didn't know if Haley, do you remember anything? Do you remember who was on the Workforce Development Board before me? Was it Trimmer or
I
was
think it was Gary.
Gary?
I don't know how active he was.
Okay. Because they're discussing a lot of stuff that is, I don't have a clue. So I think it'd probably be best for me to reach out to,
I wonder if we could go back and see if they forward the minutes
yeah,
after a meeting, and then you could maybe read some stuff.
do that, yeah. Because there was the thing about hiring a consultant for the interim, and the name that was brought up, there was a conflict previously with this individual. And I don't have any knowledge of it, so,
We can see if we can get some old minutes.
okay. I don't even know the dates when all this took place.
Yeah, but I would think they would have them publicly and we can
Yeah.
access
Well,
them.
I'm going to reach out to the chair for the CEOs and ask her if she can kind of fill me in as well. And maybe, let me try that first.
Yep, that's fine.
And then if she can just, bring me up to speed. But, because right now I'm just kind of treading water there. I don't really know what's that. But I do have a meeting Thursday in Tama that I'll report on next week, so.
Yeah, I just posted that agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. Ronald, nothing?
Nothing.
You have the
I've got the
juvenile
DCAT.
detention 2080 proposal, right?
Yep, I sent that out to everybody.
Yeah, so hopefully we get moved forward with that.
That'll save us a bunch of money if we.
He just forwarded it to
I
you.
just forwarded it
Okay,
out.
okay,
Oh, I just saw that, yeah, okay.
okay.
That will be nice to get that done and start
That
saving
would
us
be a
money.
huge savings.
I had landfill last Thursday night, pretty quiet down there. They had some trouble with the wind blowing plastic and stuff away. They're getting a lot of dirt again from Cedar Rapids over to the walls that they're gonna build again for the flood protection. A lot of trucks been going to Blairstown.
So they come and get the dirt from ours and take it?
No, we take it. They pay us very well.
Then we use it for this cover.
Phil, yeah,
Speaking of them, are they keeping the prices the same?
yes,
So, that's what I put in there, so.
yes, no, they're the same. Okay, and then of course, last night then I attended the Alliant meeting over the power generator that they want to build on the Lynn Benton County Road. A lot of people at Kirkwood, where it was housed at last night. I guess I would say 99.9% of the feeling was they don't want it,
This is the data center.
locals. So, I mean, it was, nothing was heated, you know what I mean? It was, everybody pretty well stayed in line. I had Andrea come along with me from the health. It kind of made me laugh though, probably the first half hour, 45 minutes. I mean, they're throwing Benton County as, we should do like Benton County, we should do like Benton County.
Restricted?
So, you know, I felt kind of good that we're doing something good evidently.
It's just crazy that, that they're willing to give up prime farmland.
And that's a huge,
Yeah.
we drove by one in Indiana. It's huge. And then the lights that they have, like gas-powered lights for the work that takes place, I mean, not 24 hours a day, like it's.
Increase in traffic.
You know, one of the deals, they're gonna have 3 smokestacks, at least 100 feet tall, come out of these. You know, they're gonna be concrete smokestacks, so you'll be able to see
They're gonna have to talk to the
them.
airport too, won't they, for that?
I don't know. But see, the Lynn County, you know, supervisors down there, they adopted, you know, kind of guidelines, what they gotta be 2.5 miles away from any city or anything, you know. Well, that's where this thing's gonna be, right on the edge of their 2.5 miles that they said where they have to build it, you know, which, I don't know, I had a few of them jumped on me that we should adopt the same plan that Lynn County did, because Atkins, from the edge of town, Atkins is closer than that 2.5 miles.
That'd be something you'd have Andrea work on, or?
Well, she was gonna send, you know, right now it's all in the talking stage. They're getting their permit ready to go to the utility boards to keep things running right now, so you can send your comments to the utility board, whether you're for or against it, you know. Last night, of course, nothing was recorded or anything, you know, so everybody got to kind of speak their piece, but I mean,
Would they propose
If
the
you
tax
want-
base would be?
they never said that. Never said that.
I just wondered how they're gonna tax it as commercial or,
Never said that. That was never brought up.
Well, that eastern side of the county is where the easy access to the big power grid is.
That's where that, yeah, the line that comes out of Palo comes right by there, and they get attached to that, so. But I mean, the feelings, there was only a few people that was for it, and of course, they were previous elected officials that have retired,
they're probably thinking of the tax dollars to come in.
so. That's about it. I can tell you after the meeting exactly where this is at, because they would not volunteer where this was supposed to be at, but I did some research. I know the area very well. I took their maps and figured out right where it was, so. That's about it. So I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
You didn't want to comment on anything? Nope. Gary? Nope. Nothing? All right, we got a motion and a second. Call for a vote.
Except